Subscribe, like, share, and comment below on what you want me to cover next. The game that sparked Sir Alex Ferguson's dislike for Cristiano Ronaldo. It was one of those rare football nights where every fan in the stadium felt electricity in the air, a night where even casual observers knew they were about to witness something extraordinary. The pitch was pristine, floodlights blazing down like spotlights on a stage where legends were about to perform. On one side, Manchester United, managed by the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson, a man whose very gaze could intimidate seasoned professionals. On the other, a determined opposition, hungry, tactically prepared, and ready to test United's resolve. Amid all this tension was a young Cristiano Ronaldo, just beginning to make waves in the Premier League, whose dazzling talent had already earned him a reputation as a maverick on the wing. But no one could have predicted that this match would leave a mark not just on football history, but on the relationship between a manager and a player that would dominate headlines for years to come. From the first whistle, Ronaldo announced himself in unmistakable fashion. He took on defenders with audacity and precision, weaving through tight spaces, accelerating past players who barely had time to react. Every touch seemed choreographed for maximum effect, a blend of athleticism and artistry that drew gasps from the crowd. Ferguson, watching from the sidelines, could not hide his intensity. He had recruited Ronaldo for his potential, his flair, and his ability to change games, but even he hadn't anticipated the raw, unrestrained showmanship that the teenager was now displaying. Each risky dribble, every ambitious attempt to beat a man, was a reminder that while talent was present in abundance, discipline and team cohesion were equally critical to Ferguson's vision. The first 20 minutes were a rollercoaster. Ronaldo's movements were electric, sometimes reckless, sometimes sublime. He attempted a shot from outside the box that bent dangerously toward the top corner, only to be deflected by a startled goalkeeper. The crowd erupted, but Ferguson's reaction was more complex. He admired the skill, of course, but he also noted the unnecessary risk, the potential for possession to be lost in critical moments. Here was a young player, brilliant beyond measure, yet seemingly oblivious to the tactical framework Ferguson had instilled in his squad. And it wasn't just on the field. Ronaldo's body language, his celebrations, even his interactions with teammates, hinted at a confidence bordering on defiance. By half-time, the tension had reached an almost cinematic level. United's coaching staff were in animated discussion, while Ferguson's eyes never left Ronaldo. It was clear that this match was more than a routine fixture, it was a testing ground for patience, character, and authority. In the locker room, Ronaldo was praised by some teammates for his brilliance, but Ferguson's words were measured, critical, and tinged with a warning. He emphasized the importance of collective responsibility, of maintaining structure, and of respecting the rhythm of the team. The message, though carefully delivered, carried weight: individual talent is useless without discipline. The second half only intensified the narrative. Ronaldo scored a goal that seemed to defy physics, taking the ball from midfield, dancing past two defenders, and curling it into the far corner with surgical precision. The crowd went wild, chanting his name, waving scarves, and singing in unison. Yet, Ferguson's reaction was far from celebratory. While most would have lauded such brilliance, Ferguson's focus remained on what the goal represented: a player operating on instinct rather than system, on ego rather than plan. When Ronaldo threw his arms wide and celebrated flamboyantly, Ferguson reportedly saw not joy, but challenge, a young man asserting himself in a way that threatened the hierarchy Ferguson had spent decades building. As the match wore on, Ronaldo continued to dominate proceedings, his speed and creativity carving open defenses that had previously seemed impermeable. But every dazzling run, every cheeky flick, every burst of individual brilliance was a reminder to Ferguson of what could go wrong if talent went unchecked. There were moments when Ronaldo's decision-making puzzled teammates: a pass ignored in favor of a shot, a cross left incomplete in favor of personal glory. The match, therefore, became a microcosm of the larger tension between genius and guidance, between ambition and discipline. By the final whistle, Manchester United emerged victorious, but the atmosphere in the locker room was far from celebratory. While fans celebrated outside, inside Ferguson confronted Ronaldo. It was not a shouting match but a stern, pointed discussion. The manager addressed not just the play, but the attitude, the choices, and the need to balance brilliance with responsibility. According to those close to the club, this was the moment where Ferguson's admiration for Ronaldo's talent was tinged with frustration, a moment that planted the seeds of a complex, sometimes contentious but ultimately legendary player-manager relationship. Looking back, the match is remembered not just for the goals or the drama on the pitch, but for what it revealed about the personalities involved. Ronaldo, in his formative years at Manchester United, was already displaying the qualities that would make him one of the greatest players of his generation: confidence, skill, and a relentless drive to shine. Ferguson, on the other hand, was reaffirming the principles that had made him one of the most successful managers in football history: discipline, tactical awareness, and the management of egos. That night, on that pitch, two forces collided: the raw brilliance of youth and the experienced authority of a football legend. The result was not just a game, but a narrative that would echo for years: the game that sparked Sir Alex Ferguson's dislike for Cristiano Ronaldo, or at least, his wariness of the challenges that such immense talent could bring.